And that's what political scientists are now dominated by marketing people. And that's why that's happening. And let me give you, to your point on that. They keep talking about, and this is so interesting, and I saw the black vote Biden, the black vote Biden. Well, actually, there's something interesting about that. They looked at ideology, and they said Biden's doing really good with the, quote, black vote. They said over 40, exceptionally well. Mm-hmm. Then they said ideology. 45% identify themselves for conservative or moderate. Joe Biden's considerably up 12, 13 points over Elizabeth Warren. Mm-hmm. 55% consider themselves very liberal. Biden drops to 17%. Warren goes to the top. And you can go, okay. Now they didn't put the black vote with the moderate vote. Here's the thing. All data shows black voters are 69 to 70% in that more moderate category. So was the issue that the black vote is for Biden, or that it happens to be more black voters agree with white moderate voters that Biden's the right choice?
I think it's the latter rather than
the latter.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. If you go out, expand, and you take independents and conservatives, what do you find? That 69 to 70% that the black vote is with moderate and conservative is very close to the nation overall and to white voters. Mm-hmm. Black voters and white voters are relatively about the same percentage chance to be moderate and conservative. What's the difference? White Democrats are overwhelmingly liberal. So what white Democrats have done is made black people basically put them, I'll say it, the white conservative movement now has put black people at the back of their bus. It's not that black people are just these establishment people that don't realize how awesome Elizabeth Warren's stuff is. They're smart enough to realize that she can't do it, and it's not a good idea if she can do it. Just like you, and just like the white guy who's 32 years old, or just like the Latino guy who's 53 in Maine. Whites, blacks, and Latinos have decided this stuff is not that great, and we want to kind of bring it back down to earth.
Yeah.
But because MSNBC wants to sell ratings, they make those black people out to be invisible, and they bring on all these black intellectuals to go, yeah, if you're a real black mind, then you'll be with Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren. And it is every bit as racially marginalizing as anything that happens on Fox News. And no one wants to talk about it.
And the Republicans are that way too.
Absolutely, yes.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard Rush Limbaugh. You name the Republican pundit. You know, the Republicans just have to do more to get more black votes.
Yep.
Well, why do you want to get black votes? Okay, think about what black people want. I think black people want opportunity to have a good job. They want an opportunity to live where they want to live, raise a family perhaps, or do something else, but they don't want to live in a high crime area. They want to be able to retire at a certain age comfortably. They want to be able to go to the doctor when they can. But shockingly enough, I think that's the way black people think. But that's the way Hispanic people think. That's the way white people think. That's the way gay people think. That's the way Catholic people. That's the way people think. Period. Do more that's just common sense. Help people out. Mm-hmm. Stop with the sound bites. Stop with the baloney. You want to get more black voters? Talk to them as people, not black people. And you want to get more Hispanics? Talk to them as people,
and
not
don't
Hispanic
change your
people.
focus on the deficit. Don't change your focus on limited government when you're talking to white guys in Nebraska, and then how those same policies affect black folks in Detroit. Black people do notice that. They notice if you're like limited government until the cops start going nuts on them, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, they're on our side. Black folks, that's one I believe in. Again, I can't speak for all black people, but this is my perception, is that most people that I know, when I talked about race and politics with black folks, agree with the Republicans on a lot of stuff more than they agree with Sanders or Warren or these black intellectuals who say capitalism caused slavery, which is just an utter, again, another lie, flat out lie. They agree with Republicans on a lot of stuff, but the problem is the big name people. Newt Gingrich was terrible about this. He would say all this great stuff on C-SPAN about black folks, about just general stuff. He'd be this intellectual. Then gets on TV and goes, we need to turn black people, we need to turn inner city kids into janitors so they can learn how to work. You know, it's like, and they hear this and they're like, and then Rick Santorum, well, we don't want to give people, we don't want to give black people people's money. You know, and he said, I said black people. No, you said black people. Mm-hmm. You said we don't want to give black people people's money.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They're not going to vote for you if you talk like that.
Yeah.
And there's lots of great Republicans who don't talk like that, but they get no press.
Yeah. Well, and many of the Democrats who we think have good ideas. Tulsi Gabbard. Yeah. She gets no press.
No.
Tim Ryan.
No.
I think he's got some good ideas.
He gets no press.
But he'll get no press. There's another guy who will never, he's a Seth Moulton.
Yeah.
I mean, he's basically, he wants a new foreign policy and he wants to beat Trump.
Yeah.
But he's an ex-military guy. Mm-hmm. Okay. There's a lot of guys who have good ideas, a lot of gals who have good ideas, mm-hmm. but they don't get any press.
No.
And I think a lot of it is because they're not sexy enough. They're not saying the right thing. I mean,
it's a media dominated race,
and the whole media thing, and we touched on that earlier. Maybe it was even before the podcast, because sometimes we talk before, and I forget what we did and what we didn't do. But the whole fake news thing. Do we have fake news in this country? Sure. I think the most of it though is just that it's biased news. If you watch MSNBC and then you watch Fox and they report on the same story, you'd never think it was the same story. It's just not. Neither of them are honest.
No. They're both gravitated to propaganda.
They're both biased. I'm not saying that they're fake news, because
they're not fake news.
I don't think MSNBC lies, but they're never going to say anything good about Donald Trump. I don't think that Fox News lies, but they're never going to say anything good about any Democrat candidate. Even though Tulsi Gabbard, if she is pretty good, they're never going to say anything good about her. Mm-hmm. Juan Williams might, or who's the gal on MSNBC, the SE Cup, or whatever her name is. She's still on MSNBC?
I don't know.
But
yeah.
she
I know who she is.
But they always throw in one token conservative on MSNBC, one token liberal. And I don't think Juan Williams is that liberal, but they throw one in just because
both sides do that.
Yeah, just to show that they're unbiased.
The MSNBC, I believe they've gotten rid of their conservatives. Though.
Have they gotten rid of all of them? Pat Buchanan was on there once.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Mm-hmm.
The last Republican they had was Steve Schmidt. Actually, no, that's true. They have they have one conservative on it now. He's a young black guy who was on The Apprentice. I forgot his name. He was on Donald Trump's Apprentice.
Okay.
And he's not a big fan of Donald Trump. But yeah, so there's one. And then Michael Steele is on once in a while. So they have a couple.
Okay. But Shepard Smith, I think he is a good news presenter. In fact, that's what the Brits call them, news presenters. Now the BBC News, read by, not reported by, not commented, read by.
Of the two groups, MSNBC and Fox, I take him.
Shepard Smith?
Over most.
Yeah, he's very
and
good.
Chris Wallace.
He's very good. Chris Wallace, too. He's very good. Yeah. Who's the lady on CBS who's very good? I can't think of her name. She wrote a book. In fact, they kind of ostracized her because she came out and said, look, this is a very liberal organization.
Oh, I know you're talking about.
Her name escapes. Her name escapes me. But she was always very good.
Was she on 60 Minutes or something?
I think so.
Okay,
I think so. But 60 Minutes, I mean, they had Chris Wallace's dad for years, Mike Wallace. He was very good. But everybody watched Uncle Walter Cronkite at night. But that was in the day when you watched Huntley Brinkley, Walter Cronkite, or John Chancellor. Those were the only three choices you had. Mm-hmm. And back then, I mean, news programs would get Walter Cronkite would get a 40 share. 40, not 4, not 0.4, 40.
But,
and right now, there are more people who listen to the Joe Rogan Experience than watch MSNBC.
Absolutely. But now, of course, the democratization of media has complicated things. And it's a good and bad thing. It's good because you and I can have this conversation and others can hear it. Mm-hmm. It can be a bad thing because now MSNBC and Fox can pretend like they're news when they're not. I'm not saying, like you said, they're not fake news, but they're in many ways are entertainment programs.
Right. Well,
and they don't necessarily tell you that.
They cater to their base.
Yes.
And
their marketing base.
Yes.
People they want to sell stuff to.
That's correct. If Sean Hannity started having left-wing guests on, and if he didn't ostracize them, people would stop watching.
They stop watching. Same thing with MSNBC.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not a news program. It's a sing to your base.
Right.
It's like Rush Limbaugh. I like Rush Limbaugh. I listen to him occasionally, not very often, but he's entertaining. I like Rush Limbaugh for the same reason I still like Alex Jones, because he's entertaining.
And that's the thing. Like, people are like, "Oh, we gotta get Alex Jones off the air. We gotta get Rush Limbaugh off the air." I remember Al Sharpton was saying that. I'm thinking, Al Sharpton, dude, you got a bunch of people killed in 1995. You perpetrated a fraudulent rape, and you're saying that
Juanita Brawley.
And you're saying that you want to get Rush Limbaugh and Alex Jones. Look, Alex Jones, the stuff he's saying, nutty. Rush Limbaugh, I used to like Rush for like 2 years, like 2008, 2009. It just got too much for me, you know?
Sure.
It was just like, come on, man. I can't sit here and you're basically duck stepping, okay?
Yeah.
I'm trying to hang with you, but you know what? But there's a counter to that. Getting back to them, so and I posted this on Facebook. So there's a woman, they were talking about the tweets, and there was a black woman, an author on. And she was talking about something Trump, and then she makes this conversion and goes, and then there's the 4 pillars of American racism. She named 2 things. She goes, chattel slavery and capitalism. And then there's another black guy, Democrat, young black man. He goes,
capitalism?
What? He goes,
and what's chattel slavery?
Chattel, just the slavery we had in America. That's what they call American. There are different forms of slavery. There was serfdom in Europe, and the Africans had a certain style. American form of chattel slavery.
Got it.
So she says this, and the black man, who's a Democrat, goes, just gets a look. He goes, wait a minute. And Chris Matthews goes, okay, you respond. He said, look, hold up. Connecting slavery to capitalism just isn't right. My family all came up from the South because they want to make more money. They own stuff. They love capitalism. Has nothing to do with racism. She goes, well, if you want to buy my book and read about it, I'll explain to you how it works. And I'm just like,
she's just stumping her book and playing the race cards.
And just throwing out this completely false thing. And she's a black academic. And so MSNBC has created this image that black educated people are all these hardcore left-wing people that are socialists, that think that capitalism is bad, and they think that Joe Biden is old and white and shouldn't be the nominee. That is, to me, is just the left side of what I don't like about Fox News. It's just they're sly about it because they have black faces on there, but they're never going down to North St. Louis, to Lewis Reed's district. They're not going to places where black folks who are moderate, who agree with you on subjects. They're intentionally keeping people like you and me from ever being seen agreeing on TV. MSNBC might put a hit on us if they heard this show, because I voted for Barack Obama. I liked him. I didn't like him so much at first because I thought he was lying to me, honestly. I'm going to heal the seas. I was like, no, you're not. You're not healing the darn sea. I liked him when he said, look, man, I can't fix everything, okay? I'm trying to keep it together. I'm like, you know what? Thank you for telling me the truth.
And that's why, and I've said this before, I think that's the main reason that Barack Obama was elected.
Yes.
Because George Bush, you can like him or not, he was not a good communicator.
No, not at all.
Barack Obama still is, an unbelievable orator.
Absolutely.
And people thought, wow, we got a guy who can put 5 words together.
I definitely wanted him. I liked him a lot when he was going against Hillary Clinton. I supported him in that primary. I didn't vote in the Democrat primary. I thought he was definitely better than Clinton. But in the general election, I was just like, I knew he was going to win. Yeah. I didn't want Sarah Palin as vice president. Just couldn't do it. But the general election, I was like, what are they talking about? But even then, I'll give him credit. He's doing something that Democrats don't do. He and Michelle Obama said, Donald Trump, one thing that he does well is he says, I'm going to help make you rich. It's a flat out BS lie, but at least
who doesn't want that?
But it's fun. It's fun to be a Trump supporter. I don't think so much fun now because he's kind of starting to lose it a little. Yeah. But I'm saying that for the most part, during the campaign and during the most of the time, he's like, yeah, you can. He empowers his supporters. The Democrats aren't allowed to do that. Obama was the last one. Now Obama was like, you're going to do better, because he wasn't forced to be this hardcore progressive. He wasn't forced to be this sort of kind of socialist, but not really socialist. He was just like,